Good morning. We're going to get started in a minute. I'm just waiting for a few more people to come in. Um, and we'll get started. Let me see if I can figure out how to switch this camera around so you can actually see me.
Do you need help?
There we go. Now you can at least see me. How are you, everyone?
Thank you everyone that is here via Zoom. I bring Charles here to the office because I was thinking that some of you are going to be able to be here today, but I believe that you were confused because most of you guys are entering via Zoom. So anyway, we're going to be recording this class and we're going to take advantage of all the knowledge that he's going to teach us today. So if you have any question or if you want me to translate anything during the class, just let me know, but the class is going to be English only up until now. Okay. Thank you, Charles. I really appreciate the time that you are putting into this. I really appreciate you to have you today in the office. It's awesome to have you here. And I hope that is not the first one and the last one. We're going
Not
to
at
see you
all.
soon here, right?
I will be here all the time, anytime you want me to be here. I love teaching, and I can't wait to have people here in the space and we can interact together. Um, you do not want me to try and speak Spanish. It's terrible. Mark makes fun of me every time I do it. So I'm glad, Maria, you're here to translate anything that needs to be done. All right, should we get started? I think we should probably get started. It's 10:04. So good morning again, and thank you for being here for this class today. Who am I? For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Charles Gracy. I was the operations manager for Remax Village Properties, the #1 brokerage in Massachusetts for many, many years. And after doing that for a little while, I decided, hey, I should become a real estate agent because it looks like so much fun. So I did, and then Mark and I worked together on the Gracy team, and also on the KW Real Estate Partners team. Both of those were our teams. Who am I? I'm an ABR, a CBR, an ePro, an SRES, an LMS, and all of that alphabet soup that doesn't really mean anything to anybody out in the world, but it means a whole bunch to us realtors. I am licensed here in Florida and in Massachusetts, and I have a bachelor's degree in education and a master's degree in educational leadership. So we're not going to worry about housekeeping. This is going to be recorded, so later on, if you're watching this not live and you have questions, you can always, at the end, I'm going to give you my information and you can always reach out to me. Those of you who are here live, you can unmute and ask me any questions at any time. You don't have to wait until the end. And I am not monitoring the chat box, so please feel free to interrupt and just say, excuse me, I'd like to ask a question, and that will be fine with me. Okay, some of the things that we're going to cover today is what is the DISC, or most commonly known, the DiSC. How understanding the DiSC can help you communicate with people, and it can also get you listings and buyers. It will also help you respond to problems and challenges if you are running a team or you're working with people in any way, shape, or form. You know, sometimes there are some issues that come up, and conflict is never fun. but this at least will give you an opportunity to look at it from different perspectives and maybe make it a little less fighty. I guess that's not really a word, but they're not coming to me this morning. I think I needed more coffee. If you could please, I think most of you are on some kind of device. Later on, you are going to take the DiSC assessment. So just make sure that you are able to do that. And here we go. So what is the DiSC? The DiSC is a personality assessment tool. Okay, what does it do? When you understand it, it provides a common language, meaning when you understand it, you can have discussions about things in a really easy and comfortable way. So you're probably looking at my screen right now and saying, Charles, come on, really? A picture of Wonder Woman? If you know me at all, I am a Wonder Woman freak. So I'm going to put Wonder Woman wherever I can. No, that's not the reason why she's on the screen. It is true, I am a Wonder Woman aficionado, so to speak, but the DiSC profile personality was originally proposed by William Moulton Marston. He was a Harvard professor in psychology, and he also happens to be the creator of Wonder Woman. And for those of you who know anything about Wonder Woman and her lasso of truth, he is also the inventor of the lie detector test, which is where that came from. So that's why she's on the screen, not just because I am obsessed with her. Okay, what can it do for you? It will raise your self-awareness, meaning you will understand yourself better. It can improve your interactions with your team. It can make conflict more productive, develop stronger sales skills. You can manage people more effectively, and it helps me or anyone train without judgment, meaning sometimes we think, oh, why did that person just do that? And instead of going into judgment, we can say, oh, okay, I get why the person just did that because they are this and this is what happened for them. Okay, so DiSC, D-I-S-C. The D stands for dominance or driven. So D personality types are people who are very driven. The I stands for people who are influencers, right? They're the life of the party, the center of attention. They can talk to anyone. S is people who are steady, they like security, they like systems. These are people that don't particularly do well with change, right? And then C personality types are people who are very conscientious is a good word, right? Think of accountants, and it's about accuracy, and it's about doing things correctly and making sure that the data is all there, okay? And each one of us, just to be clear, has every one of these personality types in us, but usually one is what you are dominant in, meaning that's how you behave normally, just in general. We're going to get into that a little bit later. So now let's talk about the different types of personalities, okay? So D people, D personality types, are very much about competition and winning and success, right? They want to take action, get to the point. These are not people who you typically would think are touchy-feely, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, that person can come off as, you know, kind of a little grumpy maybe, that kind of thing, right? Oh, somebody's in chat. Hold on 1 second. Good morning. Good morning, Yolanda. Okay, so D personalities, good morning, come on in. They are very direct, strong-willed, driven, determined. So think of all those D things. They tend to be outspoken type people, right? What are D people afraid of? Being seen as vulnerable or being taken advantage of are their two big things, right? What do they value? Meaning, what do they look at in other people that will impress them sort of in their mind, right? So they look for competency. They look for action, very concrete results, right? I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to have it done by tomorrow at noon, and here you go, I'm done, right? They value personal freedom, right? And they value challenges. So these are those really competitive people at sports, usually, right? Overuses means what do they go to when their personality comes out? That's what overuses means. So D's need to win, right? If you've ever played a game, a board game with a D, they are, you know, this isn't about fun. This is about I am gonna win this game, right? And sometimes they only see win-lose situations, right? If I'm winning, that means somebody else is losing. Whether there is, and by the way, there is no right or wrong about any of these personality types, right? Every one of them has some really, really great qualities. And so if you understand them and you understand what some of the negative qualities might be, you can obviously change them in yourself or in other people. Okay, how do they influence other people? Well, they're usually very assertive, right? They're the boss, they're the manager. They insist that you do something, or they're going to compete with you to get something done. That's how they influence people. In a conflict, in a fight, not so much, you know, fisticuffs fight, but just in a conflict of any kind, they're going to speak out. They're going to speak out loudly. They're going to tell you what they think the problem is. They're going to tell you how to fix it. And they're those people that want to even the score, right? So you did this to me, I'm going to do that to you. And they will tend to hold on to that a little bit. How can a D personality sort of temper, right, their D? What can they work on in order to be a little more touchy-feely, like we talked about? They need to be more patient. Patience is a big one. And they need to be a little more empathetic. Now, that's not to say that these people are not that, right? It's just that they're normal, everyday operating when they're there and they're working, that they're going to come across as not very patient and not very empathetic. Again, remember, this is not judgment. It's just the way they operate, okay? So, there we go. If you are a D leader, right? Again, the D leadership style, and you'll know if you work for one of these people, they're commanding, they're resolute. They are also pioneering. They're taskmasters. They take risks. They're not afraid to go out there and do, right? Sometimes they don't think all the way through the process and they just jump in full feet. There is something really powerful in just doing, right? What do they need to work on? We talked about this a little bit. They need to be a little more patient, maybe showing sensitivity. They're not detail-oriented people per se. They're big picture, right? I'm going to do it and I'll figure out the details later. So maybe explaining how we're going to get to the end goal. And then they need to allow people to take that in, to discuss it, to think about it, so that the other types of personalities can get on board. It's really easy for a D and a D to work together because they're like, yeah, let's go do this, and they go do it. Whether it works or not isn't their modus. It's just that I'm going to jump in. How do you communicate with a D? Okay, they do not want lots of story. They don't have time for it. You get to the bottom line. I want to know this, I want to know this, and I want to know this. So think about your career, your business, right? It's going to be funny as you think about past customers and clients. But have you ever worked with a D? Have you ever had a client call you and is like, okay, so what's your commission? What's my listing price? How long is it going to take you to sell it? And when can we start? Right? That's a D. They don't care about all that other stuff. So how many people have actually experienced that kind of a person? I got 1, I don't know on here. Yeah, Jennifer's nodding her head. Thank you, Jennifer. Those of you who aren't on camera, that's fine. Just know that when I ask questions or ask for your input, it's kind of hard to see that with Nolita. Is that how I say it? I hope that's right. Yeah, so you know who these people are. Great. So that's a D. So how do you appeal to a D? You go on a listing appointment for a D. Don't tell them lots of stories. Don't waste their time. Get to the bottom line. They will love you. Even if that's not who you are, right? We're talking about how you can shift your personality a little bit to accommodate them. So don't give them lots of story. Just be like, okay, here are the facts. Here's what we got to do. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to have it done for you by this, blah, blah, blah. Sign the code. Yeah? Which is really what all this is about. How do we get more business? Okay, the I. We all know the I. They are the life of the party, right? They can talk to anyone at any time. I love those people. That's you. You're like, yeah, that's me. I'm here. Okay. How do they get motivated? Recognition, by social recognition from their peers. They love group activities, right? Do you love to do group activities? Yes. Yeah. And relationships. They're very relationship oriented, right? What do they fear, these type of personalities? And tell me if this resonates for you. Yeah. Loss of influence, meaning somebody gets mad at them. Oh, what did I do wrong? How can I fix it? What do I do, right? Or disapproval, being ignored. If you want to send an I over the edge, just ignore them, right? And these are not weapons, ladies and gentlemen. Just because you have this information doesn't mean that you go home and you're like, aha, my spouse is an I. So if I really want to get their goat, I'm just going to ignore them now. No. We don't want to do that either, right? Rejecting them. If you reject an I, it will really bother them. What do they value? Coaching and counseling, freedom of expression. They love democratic relationships. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out how we can do this together. What can I do for you? What can you do for me, right? Things that they do a lot when they're in conversation. They're very optimistic and they praise people a lot because that's what they want. How they influence people, charm, right? They're very charming. They're very optimistic. They usually have a lot of energy. You know these people, I know you do. It's you. Okay, in a conflict, meaning if something comes up and they're in conflict, they're going to express their feelings. It's going to be about feelings, not about facts, not about judgment. It's going to be about, well, I feel like you disrespected me, or I feel like you hurt my feelings. They also tend to be a little gossipy. Why? Because that's fun, right? And gossip, right? We get a little bit of that in here and there. And again, these are not judgments. What could they be? How could they be more effective in the world and just in general? Just being a little bit more objective, less about feelings and more about, okay, these are the facts. This is what really happened. Let me think about it from a logical standpoint. And follow through on tasks. Because sometimes they can talk a great game, but then sometimes they'll say, oh, I'll get you that by 5. And then it's, 6 because they got involved in a conversation or they were doing something fun. So, just follow, being a little bit more conscientious of their follow through. Okay, so who are these people? Again, energizing, they're very pioneering, they're very affirming, they love people. And things that they want to work on, getting organized, looking at facts, resisting impulses, right? These are people who make a lot of gut decisions. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but you also want to look at the other side of it. They don't typically speak their mind candidly, right? These are people who will talk around the issue. They'll never say to you, I'm mad at you because you did this, right? They'll say, well, I was feeling like when we had this conversation, you didn't really understand what I was trying to say, right? That's how they're going to behave. Um, and again, follow through. Now, if you have one of these people as a client, how do you talk to them? Which is very different from a D. They're gonna love to hear your stories. It's all about personal connection with them, right? Any way you can connect with them is going to bond with them, right? Let them talk, let them ask questions, and always focus on the positive. Don't give a lot of detail. Detail will bog them down, right? Talk about the big picture. Oh, this is going to be so wonderful. We're going to put your house on the market. We'll have it sold for you in 30 days. And we'll be out looking for properties. You're going to find the one that you really love. You're going to be so happy in your new house. This process is going to be beautiful. I'm there for you. You can call me at any time. I always love talking to you. That's that personality, right? Good. And try not to interrupt them because they love to talk. Now, I'm going to say you're going to want to moderate that a little bit because they will talk forever, but you want to keep the conversation moving for your own sake. Now, how many of you have an I type personality? You are the I, you think. And how many of you have dealt with I type personalities before? How many of you think you're an I type personality? If you're on the call, none of you are on screen. I'm going to say a lot of real estate agents identify as I personalities. A lot of them do, right? It's natural. It's a natural fit. Me, Lewis. Okay, great. Nice. Okay. Anybody have questions so far? Because I know I'm kind of going through a little bit quick, but anybody either on Zoom or in the room have questions?
So the I personality is most likely the person that is always happy, or the people that is happy in the party that everybody knows them. Is the one that thinks more.
Yes, yes, yes. They can talk, literally, they can talk to anyone about anything. It's never a problem to strike up a conversation, right? If they're in an elevator, or you know that saying, you could sell ice to an igloo, or you can sell ice to a Eskimo. That's the I, right? Because they naturally are people. They love to talk and to get to know you.
It can be mistaken.
Yeah, one of the weakness for the I personality, when you have a client that is an I personality, these people doesn't know how to manage their money. So you need to be careful with that, because these people can tell you guys that they have the escrow money deposit that they save for this house, that their mom is going to look for the money, or whatever is the kind of person that you need to be sure that they can prove to you that they have that money. The money is there. It's not that they're going to be getting a check next week. No. You need to put them in the earth, here in the earth. Where is the money for you to buy this house now? Or we need to make a plan. And if you decide to make a plan for them to save money, you need to be sure that they are stick to the plan, because this is the kind of person that they are not consistent. They are not consistent. So it's the kind of person that today they can say, yes, I want to buy a property. Yes, I do have the money. And this is the kind of person that you tell them, do not use the credit cards. Do not use the credit cards. And they will use the credit cards.
Yeah,
so if you know that this is the kind of buyers, you need to be aware of this, and you need to be in the top of that all the time. Yes, what else? What else do you think? What else do you think is a weakness for them in a transaction, George, for that kind of people?
Yeah. So again, it's sort of getting things done. So your paperwork, these will often be the people that, oh, I need you to sign this. Oh, okay. And then you're waiting and you're waiting. They haven't signed the contract. You're like, what is going on? You're calling them. Are you going to sign that? When are you going to sign that? Oh, yeah. Let me just go do it right now. And then 3 other things happen to them in between the time that they go to sign it. They got a call from their best friend, or they poured a drink, or they talk to, 12 other people between now and then, right? So that very, very happy-go-lucky people. And as Maria said, today they may be like, oh yes, I have the money. And then tomorrow morning, their best friend's gonna call and say, let's go to the Caribbean. And they're like, yes. And then there goes the money, right? That's not you? Well, that's good. And again, these are sort of generalizations, right, guys? And like I said right at the beginning, all of us have different pieces of all the personalities. So sometimes other bits of us will come out and will moderate these for us anyway.
Yeah, and this is the kind of buyers also that is going to have cold feet, that they are on this size that today somebody comes to him and say, oh, this is not the time to buy a property. You are doing a big, huge mistake here. And they're going to call you and they want to cancel the contract.
Right.
So this is the kind of tips that you need to have in mind when you are dealing with this personality that can happen to you. And then you need to be aware so you can be on top of that before happening.
Exactly, because they're going to hear the loudest voice in the room, right? Because they love to talk. So you're telling them all the positives, and then they call, I don't know, brother, sister. This happens frequently in real estate, right? They call somebody in their family and they say something like, oh, are you sure? Oh, now all of a sudden, okay, wait a minute. So yes, for sure. Very emotional, yes. Okay.
Are you learning something today, guys?
I hope so.
Take those notes. So when you are talking to them in the first one-on-one meeting for the buyer's consultation, that is the kind of things that you need to take in consideration and make your notes, because this is the kind of thing that you're going to be seeing in the transaction. In the middle of the transaction, if this happens, then you're going to have a better understanding how you're going to manage these people.
Exactly, and how they want to actually be communicated with, which is the most important part, right? If we can communicate with our clients in the way that they feel they're heard, then we're going to get our job done that much easier, right? It's not a struggle at that point. Okay, the S. The S is the peacekeeper, right? Things that you think about when you think of an S-type personality. Support, right? They're supportive type people. They love to collaborate. Very stable, right? They have their routines. It's the same every day. They're there for you, and they have checklists, right? They're going to do it the same way every single time. Often they're very calm, patient, predictable. So think of stable, consistent, right? What do they fear? And we all know these people, right? They fear change. If you change something in an S's day or in their work environment, it's going to throw them for a loop. It's going to take them a little while to be able to deal with that. If for some reason things go way off the rail, this is not the kind of person that can just pivot, right? Can just say, oh, okay, well, we're going to go do this instead, right? That really will set off all kinds of alarms and bells in their head. They are very afraid of offending people or letting people down, right? What do they value? They value loyalty, helping. They always want to help. They're the people who are the very first, what can I do? How can I support you? What can I do for you? Okay. So they are very modest people. They will never stand up in a crowd and say, hey guys, this is me and this is what I've done. No. They'll keep all that inside, right? They're very passive to resistance. If you confront them, they're going to shut down, right? If let's say a D talks to an S-type personality and a D's like, this is this and this is this, and all of a sudden you will physically see them back away and sort of shrink down, right? And they want to compromise all the time. Again, remember, none of these are positives or negatives. It's just a way of behaving. How do they influence people? By helping, by accommodating. What can I do? And they are very consistent in what they do. Okay. So in conflict, they will give up all of their own needs for somebody else, right? Even if it makes them upset in the moment or after the fact, they will never speak out and say, no, for me, I need it this way, right? So that's something to keep in mind for both parties if you happen to have an ex. They need some things that could help them sort of step out of their shell a little bit, be a little bit more aggressive. And I don't mean aggressive in a bad way, but just about what they need, what they're feeling. Okay, and then the most important part. So if you have an S as a leader, right, if they are the leader, they're going to be inclusive, humble, very affirming, very loving, very motherly, fatherly type of personality, right? They're not quick to change. Multitasking, not a good thing for them. They can't separate. And quite frankly, just in general, and I'm going off on a tangent, multitasking is a fallacy. None of us can really do that well. When you're multitasking, your focus is not on any one thing in particular. And we're all guilty of it, but just kind of remember that, right? I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm just reading.
Oh.
Sorry.
They won't promote themselves. They will never confront. And when you communicate, okay, communicating with an ex, if you have this type of personality that you're communicating with, you want to be personable and amiable. You want to come off as kind, loving, soft. Express that you love them. Express that you want their opinion, that you value their opinion. You kind of have to bring these people out of their shell a little bit to really get to know them. You want to be polite and positive. And again, this is not a person that you can go and say, okay, I need you to do X, Y, Z, and F and do it now. Because you will literally see it, they'll go, right? So when you approach them, you just say, oh, hey, how's it going? What can I do for you today? By the way, do you think that at some point today we might be able to get this done and this? Would that work? Right? And they'll get it done. Trust me, they will get it done. Just don't come at them like I want. Boop, 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 boop. Questions about S?
Yeah, you say that they are afraid of change. But with this kind of people, guys, if you don't need to change the closing day or the inspection day or things like that, that you really, really need to do that, you want to avoid to put them in these kind of situations because that are going to take them a little bit off, you know? And when it is a negotiation, confrontation between seller and buyer, no, I need this, no, I need that, no, I already give you this, no, I already give you that. They always going to say yes, 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 but can we change this? Yes, can change that? Yes, you need to be a little bit careful with that because they really need to see you that you are protecting them.
Yes.
That you are there to protect them. It's okay to change, but if there's several changes happening, you need to stand up for them. You need to help them a little bit because at the end of the day, they're going to close the transaction with you, but they're going to feel frustrated because you never defend them.
Exactly.
So you need to be a little bit careful with that. And what else do you think that we can see a buyer or seller in an is personality?
Yeah. They're not going to be the one. So another thing, and we all know that this happens, we know that a property has just come on the market. It's a great price. It's probably the perfect home for them. You take them in and you're like, okay, look, this is not going to last. Like if you want this property, you're going to have to make an offer. That will also freak them out, right? Because they're not that kind of person. So this idea of like direct action and you got to do it now, and that may be in their best interest, but when you're telling them that or when you're trying to convey that to them, temper that a little bit and just say, go to the more, if you really love this house, it's not going to be here for long. So kind of keep that in mind. We can't take a long time to think about this in particular. I'm not trying to, stress you out with this or make you make a snap decision. But if you want this house, we will have to move a little bit quickly. And so that will at least mentally prepare them before they go in. But that's, again, it's that same idea of that pressure. I can't do that quick. I got to think about it. I got to digest it. Sometimes, and we know this, we don't have that time in real estate. It will go, so we'll get 12 offers on the property in the first hour. That kind of person will not be able to do this. What's really interesting is when you have two different personalities, right, in the same transaction, hopefully one of them will be able to move the other one along with you. But now you're dealing with two, and you're going to have to be able to play to both of them, which is why this is also powerful, because you can enlist the other one to help you. Yeah.
Question about this personality. Do you have any question? I think I have a question in the chat.
I have a question. How is the best way to tell a client no to tell me details about why it is getting divorced or their past or whatever? Okay. So you're saying when you go to meet with somebody, they want to tell you their whole life story, and they're going to go into every little detail about it, and they want you to listen. Is that what I'm hearing the question to be, Jennifer?
Yes, it happens to me. Yes.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my God,
that is the personality of that person.
It is the personality of that person. And so you want to take some of that in because that's what they need in order to connect with you. And at the same time, you can refocus them. You can switch their focus a little bit. So if they get into the weeds, as we call it, if they're really in there and they're like, well, my ex, I'm in the middle of a divorce and we're fighting over the cat and there's $10 in the bank account that he wants 3 and I want 7, and right, and they're on it, and then just say, okay, wow, what I would say is that's a lot to take in. I really hear your frustration. I really hear that you're going through this right now. My job is to really help you with this process over here, which is to get you and your spouse or whatever through this transaction, and I will be there to answer all of your questions about this transaction. And so just kind of focus them back to what your expertise is, while still listening and still allowing them to talk a little bit, but you're not their therapist, right? We can't be all
I'm a marriage counselor.
Right. So empathize and really, give them a little bit of space, but if it's going on and on and on, just refocus them to, okay, so here's what I can do to help you. Here's what I can do in this part of your life to really help you with it. And that should hopefully work. And they'll still go back, but then just great. And so with me, how best, just keep trying to go back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you need to acknowledge them. Yeah. Because if not, you can lose the client. They're going to see you as a cold person and you are not the person that they want to deal with.
Yep. They're going to be like, oh, that person didn't even listen to me. They didn't care that I was going through all this. And maybe we don't, right? The reality is maybe we don't. However, we can't give that to them. We can't have them have that impression. So we do what we can. And all of this is about shifting our own behavior to be able to meet a client, not where they are, because we're, if you're a D, you're never going to be an S, or you're never going to be an I, but you can shift enough so that they and you can feel a connection.
And that is something really good that you just said. We need to try to mirror their personality. So if you are with an I personality, you need to shift to that personality to give on, because if not, you're going to lose them. If it's an S personality, you need to try to shift to that personality in that moment, to that style in that moment. Because if not, they are not going to feel that they are identified with you. And that is very important when you are in a listing presentation. If you don't make that click with them, most likely they are not going to trust you.
This is the person that you want to say, okay, day one, we're going to do this, this, and this. Day two of your listing, we're going to do this, this, and this. When the offer comes in, this, and this, right? They want checklists. They want to know every single step of every single process from beginning to end. And again, when one of those processes changes for whatever reason, which we all know closing dates change or financing dates or whatever, it's going to take work to explain to them why and make them understand that it's okay for now, right? We're going to roll with this a little bit, but as soon as this part's done, we're still going to get back to this, and this, and the rest of it's going to be very smooth, very clear. Yeah. Okay, systems, security, right? When I think of these personality types, I just think of the letter D, dominant, direct. Okay, I, influence, life of the party, right? S, safety, security, systems. And then the C type personality. This is an analyst. This is an engineer. This is an accountant, right? Generally. They love knowledge. They love to show that they have knowledge. They are always, it's not about getting the job done quickly. It's about getting the job done perfectly. And if that takes 10 years, then so be it, right? This is about perfection, okay? Analytical, systematic, very diplomatic. So what are they afraid of? They're afraid of criticism and being wrong. Like if you point out a mistake, they're going to fight you on that mistake and tell you all about why it's not their mistake, right? Also, they fear huge displays of emotion because they don't really connect emotionally. For them, this is about data. This is about the mind, not the heart. So they're the exact opposite of the I, who's all about heart and fun and party and I love you and I love you. And this is all about up here, all about brain and function and thinking things through. They value quality, like I just said, and they value accuracy. They will overuse analysis. You've heard the term analysis paralysis, right? Where someone needs to get something done, but they think and think and think and think and think and think and think, and then they never take the next step past thinking to get something done, right? So they get in what's called analysis paralysis. They are influenced by logic, by facts, not by emotion. In conflict, they are going to, like I said, if you try and talk to them emotionally about something, they're not going to get that. They're going to come back with facts. Well, right? Whatever that is. And that's how they're going to try and overpower your discussion, right? They're going to keep going to facts, keep going to facts, keep going to facts. How can they improve their behavior, not their behavior, but how can they improve? In other words, if you're this person and you have to deal with the other personality types, acknowledging their feelings, right? And look beyond the data to go to the why. Great.
And this is good to know, guys, because for example, if you are dealing with an accountant, like he said, an engineer, a police officer, okay, this kind of person are really, really analytic. And this is the kind of person that you need to put your head in the game because they're going to know more than you. They're going to be reaching out to Zillow, to Realtor.com, to Homes.com. They're going to know the data of the neighborhood. They're going to know the data of how many homes are there, why I need to buy this one, what is my returning on investment. Investors are really an analytic person. If that doesn't make sense for me, why am I going to put my money there? So you need to know, and you need to be confident when you talk to these persons, because if they know, they feel like you don't know what you are doing, you gum.
Yes.
You're going to lose them right there.
When you go for
right there, you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
Even if it's a referral, that your best friend, that you close the house, if this is the best realtor in Kissimmee, she's gonna take care of you. Doesn't matter if you answer the phone call, because this is the kind of person that is going to call you every 5 minutes, trying to find more, nighttime, daytime, whatever it is. And you need to be there, and you need to know how to talk to these people and let them know that you are in charge. I am in charge of this transaction. I am the real estate agent. You are the accountant, but I am dealing with the negotiations. And if you don't know, let them know this since day one, they're going to go over you. They want to talk directly to the sellers. They want to talk directly to the bank because you don't know what you're doing. They know what they're doing. Okay.
And so
And this kind of persons, you need to be a strong personality, need to be polite. You need to know what you need to know because you are a realtor. So you're not gonna get your commission easy with this kind of person. You're gonna work hard for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it doesn't make sense for them, they're going to leave all the paperwork in the table and they're not going to close.
And they're going to read every word and every single thing you put in front of them. They're literally, right? They're going to read your listing contract from beginning to end. They are going to want, when you come in with your market analysis, they are going to want to, they're the ones that are going to say, well, this one says that it's got, you know, 1 half bath, but I have 2 half baths. So how does that make a difference? Or I have 1,200 more square feet, even if the house is exactly the same, but they have, you know, some extra square footage scattered out. I have 1,200 more square feet than this. Well, what does that mean? Or, right? They're very, 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 very interested in the minutia. The very small detail to them is what's important.
And it's good for you to know because this kind of person, when you prepare your closing, this is the kind of person that is going to take 4 hours in closing easily.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there. They're going to read the 400 pages easily, and they're going to tell you, I need my time. I need to read this. I don't sign anything without reading.
Yep.
And you need to be ready for that and schedule yourself for that.
Yeah, they're not going to be the one where you say, okay, so this 2 pages says this, and you give them a one sentence answer about what all of that means, which could be 100% accurate, but they're not going to take that. They're going to want to know every single word, and they're going to dissect it. And again, for them, making quick decisions, the only way they're going to make a quick decision on something is if all the facts are right there in front of them and they have no questions. Once a question comes up, you're done with quick decision because they're going to want the answers to those questions before they do anything else. Any questions about C? Again, this is the head person. The I is the heart person. D is, you know, we're going, let's go. And C is consistent, okay, yep, don't rush me, but yes, don't stress me out kind of a person.
The S, yes.
Yep. I mean S, I'm sorry, you're right, Maria, the S. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. As I said, we're never just one thing. We're all 4 of these in some way, but people tend to do one style or sometimes 2 are their dominant personality, right? So you could be a combination of 2 different of these, and then the other 2 might be lower, right? Okay, so before we do this, if you don't have your camera on, let me check chat because somebody said something. This is an awesome, what do you think you are without even taking the test? Based on the personality types, what do you think you are? Jennifer, do you know what you are? Because your camera's on and I can see you.
The I.
You're the I personality. Okay.
Yes.
Edith, what about you, my friend?
My personality is very good. I think
Which
I'm
one you
going to
think
do
you
it.
are? ¿Cuál tú crees que tú eres, Aire? ¿Tú eres la D, tú eres dominante, tú eres influenciadora, tú eres apoyadora o tú eres analítica? ¿Cuál tú crees que tú eres?
Pero yo soy apoyadora y analítica también.
Okay.
She is S and C, supporter and cautious.
Flora, you're
What
saying
about you,
all of
And
it. Nice.
Maria, I understood everything in English, but my English speaking, the pronunciation,
Yeah.
I think, but
You
I
are
understand.
fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's have some fun for a minute. What do we think Maria is?
D.
I got a D from Luz, right? D and C, okay. Anybody have any
Yeah.
other opinions?
D and C, yeah.
D and C, okay. Let's see what the chat says. All of it.
All of them.
Don't push me. Nice. Okay. Great. All right. So what I want you to do is take about, it may take you a little bit longer than that, but if you want, go to this website right now and you can take your own DiSC personalities test. I'll give you about 15 minutes to do it. If you don't have your computer or you don't have it with you, don't worry about it for now. I'll make sure that you have this and you can obviously do it later on. But I would love for you guys to just take 10 or 15 minutes right now, take the quiz, and then we'll come back online. We'll talk about your results a little bit. And then we're gonna have a little bit of fun with how you can put this into real world practice, okay? So I'm gonna pause the recording for a moment so we don't have 15 minutes of dead space. And go ahead and start taking the quiz. All right, so if you're finishing up, that's fine. You can just listen to me in the background. Jennifer, you said that you're done. What were your results? Did you get them yet?
Yes, I'm done. I see.
You're a C.
I see.
An I and a C. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And did either one of you get your results yet? No, that's fine. Anybody else finish and get their results? Not yet? Okay, that's okay. All right, so here's where it gets fun, or I at least think it's fun. Why is this important? Well, we've already talked about your clients and getting more business that way, right? And yes, that is huge. Some of you may want to put together a team in the future, right? You may want to be a team leader. You may want to, who knows, maybe you want to open your own brokerage eventually. Maybe you'll be running your own office, right? There's so many different ways that this will be useful for you. So generally, think about these types of professions, okay? And take a second and think, if I needed to hire these kinds of people, what personality type would be best for them? And you can just jot it down in your notebook. So for an accountant, if I needed to go hire an accountant, what personality type of the D, I, S, or C would I want for an accountant? Okay. Or your office manager, right? If you were going to hire an office manager, let's say for Kissimmee, what personality type would you want for that person?
C and S.
Okay. What about a broker owner? This is a trick question. What kind of?
D and C.
Okay. Coaches, right? If you're a coach or you have a coach, what kind of personality do you think a coach should have?
S.
C.
Okay, I hear an S, I hear a C. You can just shout them out too, guys. Unmute yourself and. What about your compliance manager, the person who looks at all your paperwork to make sure that that's in order and ready for closing?
Oh, definitely.
S.
S, okay. Anybody else? I got a C in here. So this is what about your front desk receptionist? I like to call them your director of first impressions, right? The first person that somebody's going to see when they walk into your office. What kind of personality would that person have?
S.
And there she is.
S.
Maybe
I.
an I.
Yes, I.
Okay.
Stephanie's I.
Stephanie's an I. I would 100% agree with that, Jennifer.
That's
Okay, and then just for some fun, what about these very famous people? What do we think Mother Teresa was?
D.
A D, okay, maybe.
I.
And you think Mother Teresa was an I, okay. What about Robin Williams?
Oh, no, Mother Teresa is S.
Mother Teresa S, okay. What about Robin Williams?
I don't know.
Okay, oh, he's a comedian.
Okay.
Albert Einstein?
Then the comedian is I.
C.
What? Albert Einstein would be a what?
C.
C, okay. No political commentary here, but Donald Trump, what type of personality is he? D. Maybe.
D and C.
All of them.
All of them. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, everybody loves Oprah.
I.
S.
S, okay. What about Barbara Streisand? If you know who that is, many people may not.
I.
I. Okay. Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, if you know who that is.
It's a good day in the neighborhood.
Yes.
I.
Okay. And then Diane Sawyer. She's a journalist.
C.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
What about you?
what about me? That's a great question. What do you all think I am?
You are C
I'm a C. Okay.
and C and I.
I got a C and an I.
Yes.
You agree, Jennifer?
Yes.
Anybody have a different idea about what I am? You can either put it in the
Maria.
chat.
Can Maria say?
Okay.
You D because you're very motivated.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe a D. All right. So an accountant. Thanks for coming. So an accountant, right? You would want a C or an S. That very stable, consistent, data-driven, systems-oriented person. So an office manager, again, you kind of want the same thing, right? They need to be systems-oriented. They need to be about the data. They also need to be an I, or at least have some I, right? You want some personality there because Otherwise, the other types of personality, I am an ID according to this. I believe I'm in the center of this thing. You could be. Because the other two types of personalities are not the warm and fuzzy type, right? So you still want an office manager who can connect. Broker owners can be any of the four. There is no broker owner type. I will say most of the broker owners are typically D or I oriented, right? They're one of those two. So you want your compliance manager to be an S, right? Systems, make sure it's right, cross the I's, dot the T's. And then yes, your front desk receptionist, you have done an amazing job. She is definitely an I, someone very loving, open, personality, can talk to anybody as they walk in. So yes. And then just quickly, Mother Teresa was an S. Robin Williams, a comedian, an I. Albert Einstein, I heard somebody say C, right? Donald Trump is a D. Oprah Winfrey is an I. Barbara Streisand has a reputation of being a very direct person and knowing what she wants. And so she is definitely a D. Mr. Rogers was an S. And Diane Sawyer is a C, right? Which is what you want in a journalist. Give me the facts. I want the facts. And I am, if you really want to know the 100% truth, I am 100% a D personality. I get I a lot because I'm a teacher and I'm a coach, but that's not my natural tendency. I put that on in this kind of a circumstance, but I am a D, very, very driven, very like boom, 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 right? It's very interesting. Let me see what someone said.
I knew it.
You knew it. Am a combination of Donald Trump and Robin Williams. Yeah, that's very possible. Like I said, you are more than one. So you're a D and an I, very driven and also very people oriented. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about what we went over today?
I will like everybody in the screen so I can take a picture of us if you want. Jackie, Rosario, Flor. So I can take a picture. We Mark.
I will put it on the big screen so you can get all of us on one.
Edward. Maria, where is Maria?
Oh, Maria's in a meeting, I think.
Okay. Only 4 of us?
Come on, guys, put on your screen.
I'm driving, guys. Do it quick. Do it quick. I'm driving.
Okay, got it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so listen, I'm putting my cell phone number in the chat right now. If you have any questions about anything we went over today.
Are we going to, I'm sorry, are we going to be able to complete the DiSC
Thank you.
We are going to get the results back?
Yes,
Or-
so they will email you the results as soon as you finish that test, and they will tell you what you are.
Thank you.
Yes. So if you ever have any questions, that's my cell phone number. You can always use that. You can reach me at corporate at any time. And my email is charles@larosafranchising.com. Thank you for such a wonderful class, such a wonderful day today. I look forward to having you all in person in the room soon. I would love to come back and teach anytime. And so thank you all. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you got a lot out of it.
Charles, before you go, just
Yeah.
a quick question. This is Flor Santana. I was just wondering if they have this program in Spanish. Do you know?
They don't as of yet, mostly because I'm finding it hard to find people to translate our classes into Spanish at this point. But perhaps Maria would be so kind as to work on that with me, and I am going to hit her up on that and a couple of other classes. So yes.
It was fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank the meeting. I am interested in the whole presentation. Linda, check in with your office here because we did record it. so they can probably send you the link later.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Much.
All right, thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I look forward to, like I said, meeting you in person someday.
That was amazing. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Thank you.